Hi everyone. So I've moved from outside back to inside, just having a quick sip of my coffee straight out of Queenie mug. And I dare say it's probably reversed if you're looking at it because I have my camera flipped. It's on a tripod and I'm trying to do this video on my own. But cheers. Oh, that's a good coffee. So what I've done is I've measured 500 grams of that repurposed cooking oil. So I'll have the recipe in the description below, but what I'd like to do is demonstrate to you how to make some soap from a small amount which you may have in your kitchen. This is also good to do with children. Obviously, when you're dealing with a caustic soda, you would need adults present, but it's good to do with children if you're in lockdown or as a school topic for chemistry. So this is how we're going to do it. I've also chosen, you saw before how I had like an industrial level, to some extent, an industrial level cleaning process with a lot of oil, so a great volume of oil going through all those filters and then into the drum with that big filter. I've done a small amount so that you can appreciate how to do it in your homes. So what I would do is if I had used cooking oil in the kitchen, I would still put it through those sieves. Whether you've got an old t-shirt, a bit of calico, a handkerchief even, and just strain that oil. You can do it 2 or 3 times. You don't have to do it 5 times. And then you can add some flour, sprinkle some flour on the top, let it settle, and then pour off that oil. And that's what you would have. So this is 500 grams. I'll make safe right now and put gloves on because we are dealing with a chemical, which is caustic soda, also known as lye in America, also known as sodium hydroxide. I get it in bulk, but if you were to go to Bunnings in Australia, you would get it in a container like this. This is a 500 gram container, and I think it's about, actually I can't remember the price, maybe $6, I'm not sure. But this is all you need. Unfortunately, you can't get it from Woolworths or Coles or Supermarket, the smaller supermarkets. You have to go to a hardware store. But that's it there. Any questions, just ask in the description below. So I have already, and my recipe's outside. I'll put everything in the description. This is the caustic soda mix with lye. So this is still a bit warm. And this is the mixture, the caustic soda and water that will transform this oil into soap through a process called saponification. What I also have is a whisk, a spatula, there we go, and I have some molds. Now molds, you don't have to be fancy, you can have a silicone mold at home. Whatever you do, don't use aluminium or a plastic grade that is not suitable for putting a soap mixture in. The alternative is an empty milk carton. We've got one here that used to have almond milk in it. This one which used to have just lactose-free milk. And this is really all you need because, again, we want to be able to replicate making soap in the kitchen. Because I have caustic soda here, as a safety, I always have vinegar nearby. In case there's a spill, I'll tip on vinegar to neutralise the burn. Water's no good. If you've seen Fight Club, you would know that experience. Also, I've put 16 grams of eucalyptus oil in here to scent the soap. You don't have to put scent in it, but I will just to kind of make it smell a bit nicer. The other thing, even though I've said that this oil should be treated as per normal, it will have, even though the flour's filtered it, it's not as clean, 100% clean like new olive oil or new vegetable oil you'll get from the shop. So for that reason, if you have it, if not, don't worry about it. An antioxidant of some description. Vanilla extract, Kakadu plum extract to some extent maybe. I've got rosemary Oleoresin extract here, so I've put a couple of drops in there as well. And I'll talk about the ratios in the description. The reason we do that is because with this repurposed cooking oil, it is a soft oil. This particular one is olive oil. I do it with sunflower oil, cottonseed oil. The reason why we put that in is because dark orange spots, often known as DOS, may appear on your soap. Because this is for home use, if you don't have an antioxidant to put in and after the soap is cured you see the dark orange spots occur, don't worry about it because you're using it at home. It's not an issue. It doesn't affect the utility of the soap. It doesn't affect the way it performs at all. So if that happens, don't worry about it. So the reason I'm using the repurposed oil as well is because my grandmothers used to mix the used oil with the leftover lard from when they made the salami. And it was beautiful soap, especially beautiful laundry soap. So without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, so the oil is in there. Now I'm going to pour the caustic soda in. I hope you can see that. I've chosen a glass bowl deliberately so you can see. Okay, so, no, I'll do that now. Otherwise it gets like a little bit annoying because you have to wait for me to explain everything before you actually see me start doing it. So you can see that, actually you may not be able to see, but at the bottom, this oil and caustic soda, it's actually starting to go milky. So it was a transparent clear before, and now it's going milky. So at this point, I've just emulsified it. I'm going to switch to the whisk so that I combine them both. Now this oil, this soap will trace quickly. You shouldn't need to use a stick blender, hopefully not. And the reason why I don't want to have to use a stick blender is because I want to be able to do it so that people at home can make soap without any fancy equipment or molds, or this is just a very basic option. So you can tell that it's going kind of milky now, and it's like a caramel colour, and that's okay. If I wanted to whiten it, I might put clay in there, white kaolin clay, or even flour. You can put flour in there too, which will continue to help purify it. The other option is you can put salt if you want it to be a bit harder. I could put 10% of salt, so this is 500 grams. I could put 50 grams of salt in there to make it harder. So now what we're looking for now is trace, which is like a custard. So you want it to appear like a custard. It doesn't matter how long you mix it. I made a mistake when I first started soap making, and I took the 15 minutes as gospel. And so I waited till exactly 15 minutes, poured it out, but it hadn't traced. So trace means it will leave a trace. This is how I explain it. It will leave a trace in the mixture, like custard. Okay, so if you're doing this with children, you want to be mindful of this solution, of the caustic soda solution. Be very careful. Once it's in this form as well, if this mixture splashes on you, it still will be acidic and will burn. So you need to be really careful. Okay, that's actually thickening up now. So I want to add my eucalyptus oil. That goes in, and I just do the lucky shake because I like it all to be in there. Move that aside. Keep whisking, and it is tracing very quickly. The reason I leave the spatula in there is because I don't want any oil that's unsaponified to be left on that spatula. I want it all mixed at the same level. Okay, so that's ready. Now I'm going to pour it into, which one will we pick? We'll pick this one because it's more kind of traditional, and we'll pour that in. So you'll see me pour that in. So that is like a custard. So I'll just make safe. Okay. So it doesn't take long. Now these gloves on me, because I'm not a big person, unfortunately they're like Humphrey B. Bear gloves on me. So I don't quite have the dexterity that I normally would have if I had gloves that actually fit me properly. This requires a little bit of hand and eye coordination so there's no spilling. You want to be careful. If this bowl had a spout, even better. And you can see, I hope, in the video, the consistency of this. It's like custard or custard. I don't know what else to... Okay, so I like to get all the little bits off, and see that bit there? Okay. Okay, so what I do is I leave the bowl in a safe place But what I'll do now is I will just give it a bit of a tap. Now be careful it doesn't splash up. So in fact, a better way to do it is to kind of close it. Just give it a tap. Now what I'll do is I'll probably put a peg or something on the top there. I have a paper towel here, so I just have to wipe some of that off. Okay. It's folded down quite nicely actually, so that's okay. So now what I do is I take a time stamp, whatever the time might be, the date, and I record it so that I know how long it's been sitting there. That will take probably a couple of days to cure, and then we'll cut it and I'll show you how to do that. Before I go, I will just show you one more thing. So that soap is curing. It's olive oil soap with eucalyptus oil, and it has a 0% super fat. Soap makers will know what that is, but for purposes of this video, all you need to know is that means all of that oil is made into soap. There's 0% of the oil that is left unsaponified, that is left as oil. All of that oil has been transformed into soap. So I'll show you one more thing after I take another sip of my straight out of Queen Anne mug. And that is, so doing this is so that you at home can make soap from leftover cooking oil, whether it's olive oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, cottonseed oil, whatever oil you use, you can make soap out of it, rather than putting it into the waste or pouring it down the drain, which is terrible. So this top soap here, I call this my grunt work soap, and it's black because I add activated charcoal to it, Australian activated charcoal. I also add citrus peel from Australia, actually from oranges and citrus that I've consumed, keeping the peel, drying it, blending it, and then putting it through, and tea tree botanicals, so tea tree leaves that I've dried and blended also. There are two types of essential oil in there, tea tree oil and orange oil, and I've called it grunt work soap because it's good for hard-working hands. It will clean oil paint off your hands if you work outdoors or you work in a trade and you get concrete and such on your hands. This is really good soap for that, and it's like Solvol soap in Australia, so this kind of replaces that. And so I sell this as well, or will be selling it on my website soon. It's not cured yet, but that's the type of thing that you can do as you progress. This is with recycled, repurposed sunflower oil, and it's made this beautiful soap. So I would like if everybody in Australia started making soap in their laundry or outside with leftover cooking oil, just saving it going down the drain, and then you've got like soap that you've homemade. So thank you very much for watching. I'm going to stop the video hopefully with this little remote control. Let's see. Thanks, and happy lockdown if you're in lockdown. Otherwise, happy not lockdown. Okay, bye.